Hey friends, welcome back to this video. In this video, we want to find out how we can use ChatGPT in order to create or help us develop Power BI reports. Specifically, we want to use it in order to create DAX measures. So let's find out whether ChatGPT can help us. So at first, what I need is a Power BI file, and in this case I'm using the Power BI Advanced Training File 2 from Power BI Masterclass. We're going to do it in a advanced, but of course you can use any kind of file you want. And try it out of course with your own Power BI project as well. So in here I have various tables, the data is already imported, and I also have a few measures. And what I want is, for instance, I like to calculate total sales, but only those which have been achieved during the week. So I want to basically exclude sales from the weekend. So let's see whether ChatGPT can help us here. And first, I need to go to, let's say, where is it, my dates table in here, which is called date TBL. Okay. And from there I want to get my date column in here. So there it is. So that's the date column. And also maybe go in here and just make the values a little bit bigger. Just hopefully you can see that on your screens. So it should be big enough, but if not, of course, then feel free to get back to me and tell it to me. So also in this data or the view itself, I don't need the day and I also don't need the quarter. I only want to have the year and the month. That's fine. Okay. So here we go. So next I want to see a measure. And for this measure, let's go to the measures table here. And let's take a look at the total sales, for instance, here, total sales. And I can see here these are the total sales for each month-year combination across my data set. So far nothing new. Now let's actually go inside our data set here. And in my dates table, I have another column, which is called in this case, day of week. Name and day of week. So if we go to the data view and take a look at the dates table gone here, we see that the day of week are numbers for me. So which numbers between, in this case, 0 and 6. And there here, I can see the day of week name, which in my case is the German name, but for you, of course, would be the name of in your local language. So what I can tell you here is that it starts from 0 on Monday and it ends at 6 on Sunday. So obviously the weeks or the weekends actually are 5 and 6 in my data set could be different for you. It really depends a little bit sometimes on the local settings. But for me, the 5 is Saturday and the 6 are Sunday. So I want to exclude actually 5 and 6, right? So to do that, let's actually first see whether that works with a basic data slicer. So let's go in here and say, I want to use a slicer in here. So click somewhere on the blank canvas, click on slicer and then choose here the day of week. This case, I'm using day of week name and here I can see all the week names again, apologize. These are German, but hopefully can get the point that Saturday and Sunday, the last two ones here, these are actually the weekends. So if I go in here in the format visual and say, I'd like to actually for the slicer settings, they used to be on the ... but now probably or Microsoft has now put them here inside the formatting pane. We could specify what kind of style in the selection. We could say, I want to also see the select all in. So if I select everything, I can see the total sales exactly as they are. So far so good. If I now untick a Sunday and also untick Saturday, like that, here I would see that only the total sales which have been achieved during the week, okay, excluding the weekends. And I can see a total number here. And what we want now from ChatGPT is actually create the measure, which delivers us exactly those results without filtering the data. The filter itself, like the day of week name, should be included in the measure we create. So before we do that, of course, you need to sign up for ChatGPT at open.ai. You can do that for free. Just want to mention that. And then we can go inside the chat window here in the browser. And now we can see we get ChatGPT here, and we can use here it can create our prompt here and figure out whether ChatGPT can create the text measures we need. Now to do that, we need to be very specific, because what we basically want is we want a measure which we can use directly, because sometimes of course, ChatGPT might create first a scaffold for the measure and then we need to adjust it on our data set. This is true, but we want to be as precise as possible to get the best kind of measure. And in an optimal way, we can use the measure directly in our data set. To do this, we need to be very specific, as I said. So if we go to our Power, we have File here, let's just see, we need to make sure, okay. We have actually a total sales measure. So the measure itself we would have is total sales, which we want to adjust, right? Then also we need to take a closer look at the table names. So for instance, I have a dates table, which is called dates TBL. In my case could be different for you, but for me, it's dates TBL. And also I have an orders table. For instance, if I want to refer to this one, I would tell it that the orders tables called orders TBL. And in the dates table, the date column we need is the date here. Or for instance, the day of week name, or actually the day of week, which are concerning the numbers, right, from 0 to 6, is called day of week. Okay. So I want to be very specific regarding the the names of the columns, as well as the names of the tables, when I tell ChatGPT what kind of script it should create. Okay. So having said that, let's go back in here. And now let's actually write here our script, or actually our prompt, in order to get the measure, right? So let's say I have a data set. Data sets are in this case in Power BI, all we are with facts table called orders TBL, and it's actually capitalized. So orders TBL, I call it exactly this one. And dates table, and then say with name. So the name of the table is dates TBL. Okay. As I said, really specific. Now the date column, in this case column, that the day column is in the dates table. So in the dates TBL is called date. So just in case they need to do some time intelligence function, now, ChatGPT would know about the date column and the dates table. So now the interesting part, the dates TBL has a column as a column. Yeah. And here in this column is called day of week. And also I need to spell it correctly in here, where Saturday in my case is 5. And Sunday in my case is 6. Okay. So now I have a measure which I want to change, which is called total sales, currently, right? Total sales. And I want to calculate in this case a measure. So a new measure, okay, that, which returns this case the total sales. Total sales, but excluding, and I'll call it weekend days. Okay, like that. So that's my prompts. And let's actually execute this. And then now let's see what ChatGPT is creating here for us. Okay. Might take a little bit of time, depends. Of course, in this case, I'm using the free version of ChatGPT, right, which I signed up for. So of course, I'm not using the Pro version. So it might take a little bit longer for me. Of course, if you use a Pro version, you might get faster results. So you can see here now, okay, it's not actually generating text here. And now let's see the formula itself. So it's called total sales, excluding weekends, and calculate, okay, total sales. Yes, that's my current measure. And I want to modify that. That's also true. And it filters the dates TBL as you can see here. It's also using the correct names in here. And it says that the dates TBL day of week, which is the column we gave it, should be less than 5. Okay. So this actually looks very promising, as I said, have to say, because it looks really correct. And now let's actually see whether we get the results. So here it tells a little bit more, but actually we are interested in code. So we copy this now. And okay, let's just see what it does. It tells us AK dates table that we have said 5, of course, when it's a weekdays, it's true. Told says, we get dates. Okay. That is the response we get. Now, as I said, I copy the code and now I go back to Power BI. So open Power BI here. And now let me actually create a new measure. So I'll right click on the measures table here, new measure. And now I paste this inside. And this is exactly the code, JavaScript created first. Right. And you can see here all the columns and the name of the columns and also the measures. Here are identified correctly because they are exactly the same names. So let me just in this case, click on this one here, a presenter just to create a measure. Here we go. And now let's actually take a look at the measure. I first take my table here, then I take the new measure, which JavaScript created for us. And let's have a look. And we can see that actually that looks very promising, right? So we can see we got the same result here. We also got the same results as far as I can see here for the sales. And now if we of course now remove the filter to see our original total sales, we should as still see the same result here, of course, 830,020. So let's select everything here. And you can see we get exactly the same result as before. Now the total sales, of course, are now for all the days of the week, but the extruding weekend sales are still the ones excluding Saturday and Sunday. And that's it basically. So as you can see that JavaScript can help us actually creating DAX measures and well, building our report in Power BI for us. Of course, as you can see, we need to be very specific if you want to have a very good result. From JavaScript regarding the column names you have, as well as regarding the data set you have and what you want to actually achieve. Also please keep in mind that the more complex your data model is and also the measure you want to create is, of course, the more JavaScript might give you more a scaffold than a really exact result. But still it might be helpful for you. And that's it basically for this video. So hopefully you enjoyed it and thanks a lot for watching. If you have not done so far, please give the rating to the course. It means a lot to me. Thanks, wish you all the best and see you in the next video. Until then, best cars.